This is the Veritable Veteran podcast, bringing truth and exposure to the struggles veterans and their families face post-military. Depression, anger, PTSD, suicide. Who am I? What do I do now? Hey guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of the episode with Andrew Becker and I'll Carry You Home. So if you haven't listened to part 1, I would encourage you to go back. It should be the episode right before this one. So just go back, listen to that episode first, and then come back and listen to this one so you don't miss out on anything. All right, enjoy, guys.
I was happy to be home and all that, and then we went on leave and went right back into the training cycle.
Yeah.
And became team leader again. I was in a weapons squad with a friend, German, and we were the Everly Bros. We both had Everly stock backpacks, rucks, so we were the Everly Bros. And you know, that time was great, and then something happened with my back and my legs. Yeah, I always had a back pain. I was like, I'm just not strong enough. I'm gonna lift more weights, and
Right.
that's what they tell you. Is like, you just need to get stronger.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I just kept working out, kept running and everything, and then was doing a run, and I lost feeling in my legs, and I was like, this is not good. I'm in so much pain. And they were like, you just need 30 days of rest. Like, you're fine. Okay. And then and during that time, between that, I mean, I had been promoted to corporal. I was going to go to DLC. I had become a squad leader over 2 sergeants, and I was a corporal. So like I was hitting it right of what I wanted to do. I mean, I was doing everything that I wanted to do. I had just gotten an award for being a weapons squad leader for a platoon for a company mission, and I guess Eagle 6 or Eagle 7 was there, and most of our machine gun ammo was out, and so we had to use rifles. And the Eagle was like, hey, that sounded really good. And like, perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Hey,
Cool.
Like, awesome. And so I had all these great things coming for me, and I was like, I'm gonna hit sergeant and right about 3, it's perfect. I'm gonna, do all this stuff. And then getting hurt really messed with that. And I was like, well, I'll be back into it. It'll be fine. And I just couldn't get better. And funny story about the board. I'll say this real quick. I was just talking to my old first sergeant about this, and I was crushing the board, doing great. I stuttered a little bit during the NCO Creed, but I was like, I had kind of forgot, but I'm like, I'm just going to blame my stutter real quick. And they were like, hey, it's okay. Let's do it. And then they're like, sing the division song and the Army song. And I was like, man, it's somewhere in there. And I stand up, nothing. Like, not one word came out of my mouth. And Sergeant Major, the Puma guy, was like, do you not know either of the songs? And I was like, no. I know them, Sergeant Major. I know them. And he was like, okay, then do the Army song. It's like, and
Yep.
So my first sergeant was on the board. He was like, "Oh my God, Becker, are you kidding me?" And so he was like, "Too easy." And so it was Sergeant Major, my first sergeant, and then everybody else was like sergeant first classes or staff sergeants. And he was like, "Perfect, everybody stand up." Becker, sit there, and they sang the Army song to me and the division song, and I had to just take that. And
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, you passed. But learn the damn songs. And so my sponsor
uh,
was just sitting in the back, which was my squad leader that gave me all this problems. And he had a notebook that he was writing things for me to do better at. And then he showed me, and it was like song WTF exclamation mark. How do you not know that? Like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know. I forgot, and
I do know it. It just
like
was gone
it
for a
was
minute.
gone at that moment. And
Right when
I
I needed
saw
it the most.
and I saw my first sergeant later, and he was like, "I'm gonna buy you a karaoke machine, and you're gonna sing this all the time, so you never forget it again." So I
It's a
was like, "All
portable
right,
one. Just carry it around on the
yeah,
microphone. You're
yep,
just singing
yeah."
it as you're walking around.
I was like, "All right,
Uh,
that's fine." But had a great time being the corporal, and then when you get hurt in the infantry, I don't know if you had anybody like that. You instantly get shut out. Like,
yeah,
you are not worth it anymore. Like, you are not helpful now to our mission, and
yeah,
which was really hard because as a 22-year-old, you're like, I'm at the top. You think you're at the top of your game, you're doing
yeah,
great, and then they're like, yeah, we can't use you anymore.
yep,
And going from having great respect from your subordinates and your leaders, and then not having a place in a day. I mean, really. And then,
yeah,
so then you get turned into taking care of the chapters or the screw ups. And then they rope you in there with that and say, you are also a screw up.
right.
Um,
It's
it's
really
like,
hard to get past that uh, label of light duty, and even if you are legitimately hurt, you still get that light duty warrior, you know sick call commando status, and it's like, I'm legitimately hurt. What do you want me to do?
yeah.
But
And that, that's
they
what,
don't
yeah,
care.
no. And that's what was so ridiculous was like, guys, I would be out here right now doing the trainings, like PTing with my guys, because then I saw them moving past me and got their new team
Yeah,
leader, and maybe they're not learning something right. I'm like, but now they think I'm a shit because I'm hurt.
yeah,
And they were like, hey, when can you start doing PT again? Like, we need to make our PT test score look good for a banner. I'm like, let's take care of my body first.
right.
And so through that time, they put me on so many pills. That was their answer, pills. Still don't like taking pills because they gave me a bunch of different medication, would knock me out, make me tired, make my left arm hurt, like I was having a heart attack or something.
Yeah.
And nothing was helping.
Did they ever do an MRI or any
Yeah,
kind of scans to see what it was?
yeah. So they did an MRI, and they're like, well, it's just maybe something I think you just kind of tweaked your back. And so then they put me in traction for like 3 months, every other day or twice a week. I was doing
Wow.
traction.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just, I mean, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I was getting ready to reenlist. I was like, this is really messing with my life plan I built in my head. And
Yeah.
so I keep going to all these appointments, and they're like, yeah, you're kind of on a permanent profile right now. And so I was not being treated very well at that point, and they were because they I was the shitbag NCO, and they were treating me like crap too. And I was like, I can still do something. I just don't know what. And
Right.
so each infantry unit has a training room that does all the paperwork, all the logistics, all the awards, DTMS stuff. And I was like, I want to do that. I think I could be beneficial there because I'm good on computers. I thought, and it would still give me purpose. And they were like, no, like we need you in the platoon. And I was like, no, I can't keep doing this the way you guys are treating me. Like, it's not.
Right.
So the training room NCO was my friend Martin, and he was getting ready to get out at some point in a few months, so it made sense to bring somebody in. And so I got to transition to there, and awesome, learned a whole bunch about Army reports, and did a lot of, you know, then everybody started coming to me for stuff like, hey, I need you to fill this out. I need you to make this right. So you learn super quick how to do a bunch of forms. You're talking to first sergeant every day. That's your best friend,
Yeah.
captain's best friend. All the
Yep.
like you're doing all the reports um, and I was working a lot more hours doing that because my first sergeant would get in at like 5 a.m. and he wanted me there at 5 a.m. and
Yeah.
I didn't leave till he left, so he left at like 5:30, so I left at 5:30. Um, but I learned a lot, made a lot of good contacts during that time when I was hurt, um, and became a very important part of that group of of the company. Like I was good enough at it that they had me do a bunch of extra stuff, and which was the downfall of trying to get transitioned out of the army.
Yeah.
And so as March, I think, of 19, right, I had an orthopedic surgeon appointment, and that was going to be the final call of if I can stay in or if I have to get out. And the most unenthusiastic person I have probably ever met, and my career's on the line, and he just pulls up a chair and he's like, "You're getting out of the army. Cannot use you anymore. You're done." He's like, "You are too messed up. You cannot do this anymore."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" And I just disbelieved. Holy cow! I mean, I just could not believe the words he said, um, because it just now it was concrete. Like, I'm getting out of the army at some point because the med board process could be 90 days. It could be a year. You just
Yeah.
don't know
Yep.
how long it takes. And um, so all that was happening, and the company went on JRTC rotation from there. So I was the rear DNCO for my company as a corporal, which was fun. I mean, there was like 10 guys. It wasn't that hard. Helped a few guys transition out. And somehow, during that time in the battalion, there was 3 suicide attempts. And I was the one that responded to every single one of them. And because I was on CQ or staff duty for each of them, and a guy was like, "Hey, um, I think this guy might kill himself." His mom called, and he posted something weird on Facebook. We need to
Yeah.
find him in his room. Like, okay. And I just walked the rounds, and then I was like, because if there's music blaring too loud, it's like, hey, shut up, like just turn it down a little bit.
Yep.
Didn't think anything of it, and then I was like, that's the guy. So get the master key, run over there, hobble, whatever, laying on the ground, passed out, knife out, and there's some blood, um, and I just talked to the guy 2 hours, 3 hours before, and um, pick him up, slap the shit out of his face, like wake up. And I was like, we're not doing this bullshit. Um, and he gets up and he's out, over alcohol. He drank like a fifth of Jack or something.
Yeah.
So pull him over to the brigade or to the battalion, and um, we bandaged him, got him over to the hospital, and it's like, okay, like, and then there's just no talk. It's like, hey, just go back on CPU.
Yeah.
And then I had a guy take a whole bottle of pills. And he was getting out of the army anyway for something, and then he had kind of been a risk before, so he was staying back, getting chaptered, and then they called me, hey, he's going to the ER. We found him in a bottle of pills. So, all right, I'll be there. And so then his parents lived close enough that I had to go. He was at the ER. They took him to another hospital. I had to follow. I had to go. And so as a corporal, and my buddy was with me because he was getting out, and I had to explain to his parents that he tried to kill himself. And his parents came down, and I had to say he is intubated right now. He is stable, we think. I don't know. Um, and so that was a conversation I had to have with a grieving mom and dad that had been crying from Ohio for probably 6 hours. That then thought their son was dead. Um,
Yeah.
and so then we take him to a behavioral site um, where he gets admitted, and again, it's just a shake off, like whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
and then a similar thing happened again, like a week later, and it was like, it's just part of the game. I get it's just part of the job. Like you're an NCO, you just got to deal with it, and um, that's something now that you struggle with. I struggle with to think about, and, having to deal with that, and the mental health aspect of having to deal with 3 suicide attempts in a month, and having no talk about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Uh, and I talk about that. I've talked about it with my therapist, and I said it very casually to her, and she was like, "What did you just say?" And I told her, and she was like, "Did you talk to anybody after that?" I was like, "Nope, never got brought up unless me and the buddies were talking about it."
Yeah.
And she was like, "I have dealt with 2 of those cases in my life, and you dealt with 3 of them in a month." And she was like, "And they wrecked me." Um, and she was like, "So you just had to, like, you never talked about it?" And I was like, "Well, I did, and it screws me up, but everybody's got problems. Everybody's got bigger problems than me. Like, it's fine." And she was like, "It's not fine. Like, that's not okay." Um,
Right.
and so then she was like, "Well, what else is wrong with you?" So went through some of the other stuff, and she was like, "Yeah, have you ever talked about it?" I was like, "Nope." And
Yeah.
never in a constructive way. And
Right.
so that, I mean, really was like, man, maybe I do have some mental health problems that never processed the trauma and
Yeah.
just bottled it up.
And that's, I think, so many people think that to have trauma, you have to have experienced this wild, dudes are getting shot in the face, you're getting blown up, and, rockets are going off and people are dying and you're killing people. And it's not always like that. It's actually very rarely like that.
Right.
And, and it's, a lot of it is just those little things. And they're not little. They seem little, but they're not. They're
Yeah.
not little. Like you
Yeah.
live with that,
Yeah.
and it's like there's, and this is just a story, that's kind of similar to that. We had a guy when I was a police officer, and this is after the military, but it's, he got, his friend was cleaning his pistol, and he forgot to clear the chamber, and he cranked a round off, and it went through his buddy's arm and into his stomach area, and it didn't exit. And we got there, and we cleared the house and made sure it was a legit. We found the guy. The kid was outside like throwing up because he was freaking out because he just shot his friend.
Yeah.
We grab him. There's no bleeding because it's just all internal, and we're like,
Yeah.
great. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either.
Yeah.
So we pick him up. We take him outside to the ambulance, and as we're taking him out, he's like, it hurts so bad. And I was like, hey, I told him, hey, at least it hurts. That means you're still feeling. That's a good thing. Like I know it
Yeah.
sucks, but it's a good thing that you're still feeling pain. And we got him in the we got him in the ambulance. They knocked him out with some morphine or ketamine, whatever it was. They put him out because he was in so much pain. Got him to the hospital. They debated whether or not they were going to do surgery at the hospital, and then he ended up going to getting life flighted to Medical City down in like Dallas. And we're all sitting at the PD a couple hours later, and the officer that was in charge of the call, he gets a call from the Dallas coroner. And the
Mm.
only time you get a call from the coroner is if somebody's dead.
Right.
So we're like, oh my word, did he die? Because they said he was stable, and the kid died. He never made it because it went through like his liver and like one of his kidneys or something. It was just the path that it took. They weren't able to save him.
Yeah.
And I talked to my therapist and I was like, it sucks knowing that because as soon as I said what I said to him, about 15 seconds later, he was unconscious because they had already hit him with the drugs. So my voice is the last voice he heard. And the last thing I told him was, well, at least you're having pain, like that's a
Yeah.
good thing. At least you're feeling.
At least,
And I
yeah.
talked to my therapist and I'm like, that sucks. Like I was the last voice he heard. I was the last face he saw as I'm standing over him telling him not to suck it up, but like,
That you're gonna be fine. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's the last thing he heard or saw because he never woke up. They kept him under just because he was in so much pain. And, and again, did I shoot the kid? No. Did I get covered in blood or listen to him scream? No. It, but it still happened and I was still there. And
Yeah.
I heard an interesting quote the other day. They said, if you drown in 20 feet of water or 2 feet of water, it doesn't matter. You know, you
Yeah.
still drown. You're still drowning, right?
Yeah.
So someone that's seen over and above all this crazy stuff, somebody from World War II or somebody in OIF 1 who was in, the invasion, or somebody from '04 in Fallujah saw these things and they're dealing with it. It doesn't change the fact that what you saw still affects you.
Yeah.
And that's what I want people to understand is if it affected you, you need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Just because someone else looks at it and they're like, well, that's like nothing. I saw something way worse. Cool story. Like, I'm sorry that you had to see worse. That's not
Yeah.
something to be proud of, or it's like,
Yeah.
oh, look at my trauma. It's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to understand is if it affected you, you need to talk about it. And that doesn't mean you have to just talk about it and talk about how, traumatized you are and how weak you are and, go broadcasting it on the internet talking about how much of a victim you are. That's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Right. Yeah.
But the
100%.
point is you have to just say, "Hey, I need to talk to somebody. It's bothering me. I keep thinking about it. I'll see something or I'll hear something or I'll hear a song, I'll smell a smell, I'll see a movie and it clicks in my head and all of a sudden I'm getting emotional about it."
Yeah.
That is a signal that your brain is telling you that this is bothering you and there's a wound there.
Yeah.
It's like having an open cut on your arm and like you touch it and it hurts. Like, oh, I forgot about that until I touched it. It's like, yeah, that's because it's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And that's what I want people that, these guys that joined, like when you joined in 2015, I mean, the war was still going on. It it wasn't necessarily talked about as much.
Right.
It wasn't during the build up. It wasn't during the pushes through Marja. It wasn't during Fallujah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't change the fact that people still died. There were still horrifying moments where you thought you were going to die. You still saw terrible things, and
Yeah.
that affects you.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it's like
yeah.
the military has this again, the stigma of mental health, but there's this persona that, well, I'm tough and it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
And there's a time and a place for that. Like during a mission or, when you're in the middle of something, that is not the time to say, man, this is really affecting me. I need to talk about it. Like, no, you got to get out of there and, do
Yeah.
what you got to do, push it out of your head and deal with it later. Like there's a reason men are good at compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
That's you can take something and put it away and be like, I'll deal with this later. That's fine. The problem is
You
no
don't.
one's dealing with it.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
don't.
It just
Well,
and they just kind of they push it off to the back and they just keep piling stuff on top of it and they never deal with any of it. And then
yeah.
they wonder, why am I struggling so much?
Well, and
Because you've
that's,
got 800 little things over here just
yeah.
stacked up, little
Yeah.
traumas that are just bugging you and it's just growing and growing and growing.
Yeah. And there's a thing that I'm sure the Marines are the same way that they teach you is that if your buddy gets hit, you return fire, take
Hmm.
care of the problem, and then you go check on your buddy.
Yep.
Like that's
The
what
best
we're
the best
taught.
medicine is fire superiority. Like
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
can't help him if you're getting shot. So
Yeah.
you need to go kill whatever is trying to kill you
Right.
first, and then you render aid.
Yeah.
So that
And that's but then we don't render aid. We keep
yeah,
fire superiority, and we're like, well, we're just going to
yep,
keep compartmentalizing. And there's, you know, I love what you said about reaching out when something's bothering you, because it's so true that it could be something like a smell, or it could be
Hmm.
you see something, and it could be like a leaf that blows and you're like, man, I remember that happened,
Hmm.
something so simple like that. And
Yes.
on my, not to throw my social media out there, but I started like a little video thing where it's called the check-in code, and you have a person, and let's say it's me and you, and my code word is pineapple, or or it's heavy. That means I'm having a problem right now, and I need you to reach out to me.
Yeah.
And your whole job is to reach out to that person.
Yeah.
And if you can't
I
reach
like
out,
that.
find somebody that will. Do not
Yeah.
ghost that person. Say,
Yeah.
hey, I can't talk right now. Give me 2 minutes. I will find somebody to talk to you. Because in having that trust and that bond to say, I will take care of you. Because, and I know this is true because I've dealt with it personally. That is the difference between a text message and a reminder for a funeral.
Yeah.
That is the difference. And
Yep.
I have seen it. I know it works, and that's why I did the video, because I know it'll help somebody. And I say in my videos, if this hits one person, that's worth everything to me,
Yeah.
because we see it so much. I just saw one today, a police officer in Wichita, Kansas. She just she just ended her watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it is all the time, and it is terrible. And you feel for the families, you feel the grief, and you think in a situation like that of, could somebody have reached out, or
Yeah.
could she have had that 1 minute to send a text message to her confidant to just listen to her. And
Yeah.
if you get in touch, like the check-in code is, I'm not solving your problem.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. I got you, and I
Yeah.
will listen. And that's a
Yep.
huge responsibility. That is
Yeah.
not somebody you choose lightly, because it gets heavy. I mean, it gets
Yeah.
emotional, and you've got to be able to be there for that person. But that's why you chose that person, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think in the stigma is just, it is so disheartening,
Yeah.
because I was talking to, when we were in the unit, we had the most accidental deaths and suicides in the DoD for, like, in a span of 18 months. I mean, just crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
we always going to funerals, and
Yeah.
the one that stuck with me and a bunch of guys was this kid, 18-year-old kid, 19 maybe, and he got hurt, so he was down in S1. He's a sharp kid, super funny, and we would all go down there and just talk to him, because he was like, we were like, hey, when you're better, we want you in Deco. Like, you would
Yeah.
fit in great with us. And um, that Christmas block leave, he had his wife or his girlfriend and his parents there, and he was showing off his pistol, thought it was cool, and didn't unload it. Accidentally shot himself in the head.
Yeah.
Gone. And
Yeah.
went to the funeral, and me and my buddy just got back from deployment 6 months ago, and we're like, this is the fourth funeral we've been to. I think it was probably the fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just insane. Um, and then a few guys that did commit suicide. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it is so sad to me that we get to a point where we're not. I wouldn't say belittle their death or their memory, but we're not honoring it. We're definitely not
Yeah.
we're not honoring that guy's memory. Like, he was still a person. He was still a human. He was still a hero. He signed his name on that blank check.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, and his family signed the check too. And
Yeah.
that's what people, I think, are missing. is that
Yeah.
I signed, I signed that check, but so did the family. They're also on that same page,
Yeah.
and they have. And if you do that, if you get to that point, they're still cashing in that check, but it's just
Yeah.
got your name on it now. And um, not to get on a soapbox about it, but like that's, I mean, it is,
No.
it is something that we have to do better at as a military. And I think there's so much social media out there, and it's great. People are talking about it, but I think we're just talking. Like,
Right.
I think people are just talking about it. I don't, and I'm not saying that they're not doing a good job of talking about it. I just don't think we're implementing it enough.
Right.
Like, we're saying, hey, reach out, do this, but how? How are you supposed to reach
How? Yep.
out? And
And who do you reach out to?
right, exactly.
Because I mean, you can go to the chaplain, um, and that's but some guys don't want to talk to a chaplain.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a Christian. I've grown up in a Christian home. I've been to church my entire life. So talking to a chaplain, you would think it wouldn't be hard for somebody like me who's been in church and who's talked to, pastoral like people all
yeah.
his life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had zero desire to talk to a chaplain. I just, I don't know what it was. It was just and I think is just the stigma of talking to him,
Right.
and just like if they find out you went to see the chaplain, oh, what's wrong with him? And
Yeah.
it's, you're in a, I mean, the military is an alpha male society, and I know there's a lot of females, there's alpha females and things like that. I'm just saying that it's an alpha male. It's a very alpha society. I won't even say necessarily alpha male. It's a very alpha society, but
Yeah.
it's a shame-based society.
Yeah.
You can go all the way back into the history of different societies and things, but I know, the best example is like the Spartans. They were a shame-based society that if you didn't measure up to what they thought you should be, they just shamed you as an entire culture and society. They were like, you're worthless and you don't deserve to even be part of us. And the
Yeah.
military is really like that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like somebody in your position, you get injured and you're legitimately hurt. Like you're not just hurting like I'm uncomfortable, like you're injured, right? There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
And yet they're still treating you like you should just push through it. And it's like if I push through this, I'm going to get like permanently hurt, like injured like really badly. That's going
Yeah.
to affect the rest of my life. And one of the things that I've said with mental health is you have to learn to know the difference. The difference between I'm pushing through discomfort because I don't like this,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to stop before I injure myself permanently. And
Yeah.
that's, being able to know the difference is that's just having awareness of yourself, right? But
Yeah.
then where do you go after that? Because I've had some people reach out to me and they're in the military now and they say, I want to reach out because I know I have some mental health issues, but I'm afraid of losing my security clearance. I'm afraid of getting my weapons taken away. I'm afraid of losing my right to go to the range and, be around ammunition and weapons. And
Oh
they're going
yeah.
to put me on light duty until I show that I'm stable on my meds. And all of that follows you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Right.
what are you supposed to do? And
Well.
I
Yeah.
legitimately told the guy, I don't have an answer for you. I wish I did.
Yeah.
I really do wish that I could tell you going to get help for yourself is not going to result in something negative. What I ended up telling him was, you have to decide what's best for you,
Yeah.
and your family ultimately, because your family is going to be there the rest of your life until you die. The military's not. So if it's bad enough to where you think you need to go and get help because this is going to negatively impact you and your family for a long time, screw the military. Like, I mean, the military,
Yeah.
it's a job.
It is a
They don't care
job.
about you. They don't
Yeah.
care about you. The
Nope.
second you're gone, they're going to fill your position before you even left the door.
Yep.
And that's, again, nothing against the military. It's a massive organization. I get that.
You already
But
know.
you have to be able to look out for yourself. If you're not advocating for yourself, the military damn sure is not going to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
People, they think, well, it's the military, they take care of their own. Right. But there's 2 million people that they have to take care of.
Every
Like,
day.
they're not, yeah, every day. And they can't,
Yeah.
and they do a good job in some ways. In a lot of ways, they do a really good job.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to advocate for yourself, no one's going to do it for you.
Right.
And
And
it's,
that is the hardest part of being a leader is
yeah,
how to teach your subordinates or people to say, hey, it's okay to not be
yeah,
okay. And I'm not going to judge you
hmm,
because I want you to know that you are human. It's okay. And
yeah,
when I was in the first half of my enlistment, I was go go go. I am the most alpha male. That's because that's how my leadership was. Like
yeah,
I'm gonna break you down and I'm gonna build you up and I'm gonna scream at you, and that's how I was taught. And that's how I was first put in. And then as a leader, I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't.
yeah,
I don't. I don't learn that way. I'm not going to teach that way. And
right.
my soldiers, I had one of them I was talking to. He's a great dude, and he was like, my first few days, I went to air assault school. He went to air assault school. Did not shave that morning, and they were like, "See, dude,
Yeah,
didn't shave." And I had not even left the parking lot, and he called me like, "Hey, um, they just kicked me out of air assault school." I was like, "What? I haven't even
yeah,
started my truck yet to go back to the company. What are you talking about? They
yeah,
kicked me out." And he was like, "Dude, you were really fair with like you smoked me and you corrected the problem, but then you taught me how to fix it, how to do something better." And that's what I always wanted with my guys was if you mess up, I'm going to deal with it, but then I'm going to teach
yeah,
you how to do better.
right.
And I would tell guys go to sick call, go to sick call. And
Yeah,
I was not that guy for most of I I didn't really, but I knew down the road. Well, as soon as I got hurt, like to the point where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be in anymore. I was like, guys, go to sick call because none of my stuff was documented that I was dealing with. Like,
right.
you need to go document to take care of yourself because once you that day you get your DD-214, you are done. No one cares
Yeah,
about you. No
yep.
one cares.
No one,
And that's what
no one.
I to finish my military. I was trying to do SFL. I was doing the team room or the training room, and they were like, "Hey, we need you here. We need you here." I'm like, I have to do this stuff to get out.
Yeah,
And there's like 6 month programs, 3 month programs where you get training and then you get a job when you get out. And
hmm,
I did not get to do any of that because I was doing the training room stuff, and I put that on a pedestal of I'm still worth it. I'm still worthy of my job and my uniform until the day I get out
right.
because I got hurt, but I'm going to make sure that I still do the best job.
Yeah,
And I regret it to this day because I should have took more interest in SFL, stood up for myself to get better help getting out. And
yeah,
I had 81 days of leave when I got out. I had a lot. I did not get a job until the 70th day.
yeah,
Like I was almost out and I did not have a job yet. Like I was almost off of that payment. I did not have a job
yeah,
yet. And I
yep.
applied at like 15 places. And I was
Now,
like,
was that,
I
not
was
to
like,
interrupt, I'm sorry, I
no,
have a
no, you're good.
question,
Yeah.
but no, about that specifically. Was that because you couldn't get hired or you weren't looking?
No, I was looking everywhere. I mean, I was
Yeah,
like, I was like, I was like, I'm going to work at Lowe's or Home Depot because they've got military
yeah,
programs. And they're like, you don't qualify. I was like, I have 2 years of leadership experience. You're asking for one. You're asking for a high school
yeah,
diploma. Like, I have awards that show that I listen and I do all the things that SFL says is what people look for,
yeah,
and I did the resumes how they like, and they're like, you don't qualify, we're not interested in you, and they at SFL they're like, around here people want to hire military. I'm like, yeah, like, you're gonna
yeah,
no one cares that you were
Yeah,
military. I'm sorry, like
they don't.
because you say I was a team leader in Afghanistan. They're like, what does that mean? How does that help me? Good for you,
Yeah,
buddy.
cool story. Yeah,
How?
thank you for your service. We're not interested.
Yeah, and it took me it took me a connection I had made 3 years ago that I didn't even know I needed,
Yeah,
and a friend leaving a job that I backfilled for. That was the only way that I got a job because
yeah,
I had nothing else. I had no, I mean, not even second interviews. Like
yeah.
no one. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like
Right.
I can do anything. Like I can make myself learn anything. Like if you just give me a
Yeah.
chance,
Yep.
nothing.
It's
And
just getting your foot in the door is the hardest part. And
yeah,
again, they make it out to be that, the separations classes make it out to be, oh, everybody's looking to hire veterans. Everybody loves veterans. They want you there. You're going to have people calling you night and day trying to get you to work there. That didn't happen with me. And
I
you're saying it didn't happen with you,
I didn't get one
and
phone call. I mean,
yeah.
no,
And that's,
not not
the
one
guy that I
person.
spoke to the last interview that I did, same exact thing. He couldn't get a job at McDonald's, because he was overqualified.
Yeah,
He couldn't get a job at Lowe's. He said the same thing, Lowe's and Home Depot, because they got the military programs. Nothing, never even a callback.
yeah,
And
like
it's just
nothing. And it's
they've got to stop saying these things that aren't true and blowing smoke up these guys' butts, saying, "Oh, when you
yeah,
get out, you're just going to glide right into these jobs." It's like, no, you're not. You're not.
no,
So
there.
don't lie
Yeah,
to them and tell them, this is, I don't know if it's like a, hey, let's just tell them this to make them feel good or what, but it's literally setting guys up for failure.
well, what's
And
so weird and interesting is LinkedIn. The military is like
yeah,
LinkedIn is going to be your gold standard to getting a job.
yeah,
You because you're going to get the free premium for a year because you're military. You're going to connect with all these people. Oh, it's going to be so easy.
yeah,
90% of LinkedIn is spam jobs now.
yeah,
Like there is no
yep.
real
It's
job out
just,
there,
yeah,
and
exactly.
there's all these recruiters are like, oh, we're hiring, and military, 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 and you click on it, and it's like, what is this? Like this isn't even
Yeah,
a job, or
yeah,
and then you have people finally that are saying you're like in a good way. They're starting to say, hey, your military experience. Thank you for your service. This is what it needs to say for me to want to hire you.
right.
Like you need to
Yeah,
be able to translate this. And but there are still some people on LinkedIn that are saying, "Hey, military guys, they're still pushing that bracket." And it's
yeah,
like you guys have got to stop because these people like guys are getting out, not having jobs,
yeah,
almost homeless, and
yeah,
it's like where is the disconnect? And
yeah.
I don't know where it is. I don't
And I,
know why they're
I don't,
putting
yeah,
millions in this, and it's not like
yeah,
when I went into SFL, we did an interview class, and this girl was like, "Well, you need to wear a white shirt, black jacket, and a blow whatever, and you'll always look good." He was like, and the soldier was like, "What if I wear a purple shirt?" And she was like, "You'll never get hired wearing a purple shirt." And he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go do an interview with a purple shirt and get hired and show you your skills
yeah,
because like you don't know everything, and they act like they know every answer to what
yeah,
we're asking them, and that they're like,
yep,
we've done it, we've done this job, we've done the transition smoothly. It's a and they say it's a you problem if you can't get it done because you're not looking
yeah,
hard or whatever.
right.
It's like, whoa, like
Yeah. So then they put it back on these guys that are already dealing with, you know, uh, just the frustrations of losing your friends and losing that support system, losing the structure,
yeah,
and it's kind of like, man, I don't know, you're kind of in that lost, you're kind of floundering,
yeah,
and you may not be dealing with a lot of depression or anything yet, but you're still kind of like, I don't know, like in this weird limbo phase, and then all of a sudden that voice in the back of your head, it's like, oh, you can't get a job? Well, you suck. Like, good job. You can't
yeah,
even get a job in the civilian world. And that just, it's painful because you see these other guys that never served in the military and they're getting hired on, or they've got this job and they've been there for 5, 10 years and they're settled in, and it's like I was in this position in the military for 4, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 years where I was stable, and now
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'm not again. And you have, and they're always like, well, they're going to put you in this leadership position because they love military guys that have led people, and they see your leadership experience and they respect it. No, they don't. They
No.
absolutely do not.
No.
And
Yeah.
and especially if you don't have a degree, they're like, oh, you don't have a degree? Like everyone has a degree
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Everyone. So if you don't have a degree, you can't get like the most basic jobs. And it's
Nope.
like, like I wanted to go be a game warden
Oh yeah.
in Oklahoma. And I was like, that'd be fun. You're outside all the time. You get to go, I love being outside. I like hunting, fishing. I figured, I wanted to get in some kind of law enforcement. I figured it'd be cool. You have to have a degree to be a game warden. And I was like, what kind of degree? And they're like, anything.
Right. Yeah.
Anything. Underwater basket weaving could be
Yep.
your major. And they'll take you. I was like, I have 11 years of military experience. And they're like, we don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
like,
mean,
how does that not translate? How does 11 years of military experience not translate to the same level as a 4-year college degree? That the only reason I got it is because I paid for it. Like, probably
yeah.
didn't even study for half the classes. Probably didn't do most of the work. Barely passed. But I'm suddenly more qualified than somebody who served 11 years in the military. That makes zero sense to me, and it's
Yeah.
so frustrating. But
The worst part is when they put on there like education preferred or not required, and then you go through the steps, and it's like, okay, well, I don't have I have some college
yeah,
because I live a full life. Like I can't just drop everything and go back to
right.
college. Like I have a
Yeah,
job, and
exactly.
but I'm working towards it because I can balance it and get this job. And they're like, well, we really want a 4-year degree. It's like, well, your job description says not required or preferred,
Yeah.
which does not mean required. They're like, well, that guy has one,
Joe
so
Joe Schmo over here has a degree.
yeah, Joe's got one,
Okay,
and
like
it's
yeah,
like, but and that's where I think a lot of guys are getting caught up, and there's people that are like, well, you have time during the military to get a degree, and
I didn't.
it's like, okay, what
I did
job did you
not.
do?
Yeah, I
What
was
job?
infantry, and I
I was
absolutely
infantry.
did
I
not
didn't
have
have
time to get
right.
it to do anything except survive. Because if I wasn't at work, I was at home trying to be a father and a husband. And then when I wasn't at home, I was at work or in the field or deployed.
Yeah.
And there was absolutely no time for me to sit down and be like, let me take this online college class. There was no way. No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I would I wouldn't have there's no way that I'd still be married because my wife would have left me because I would have literally been either in the field, deployed, working at the office, or sitting in front of a computer taking classes. And I would have
Yeah.
never had any time for my family or kids, my wife and kids. And there's no way. So these people that say, well, I mean, you get to go to college for free while you're in the military, you get tuition assistance, and they'll pay for it. I'm like, cool story. When?
Yeah. When
When?
do we have time? I mean, and
Yeah.
that's the hardest, and that's the hard part of that. People are saying, well, the military guys have got all these extra benefits, and they're getting ahead of the civilian people because they're getting
Yeah.
college paid for, or getting it. And it's like that recruiter door's open. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
go do
the
it.
door was open. Yeah, the same door was open to you,
Like,
and it's
and it's
yeah,
still open.
yeah.
Like, go do it. And
Like, how old are
but
you? Are you 42? Then you can join.
yeah,
Like, if you're not
right.
42,
Yeah,
if you're not
yeah,
42 or older, you can still join the military.
yeah,
So
yeah.
stop complaining.
And that's what, man. It's so funny, and I the hardest part I think for me in when I was in the military, and one of the hardest parts was when the day before I got my DT-14, I was talking to guys, just chopping it up, having a good time. And the day I signed out, and then that next day, no messages, no Snapchats, no, hey, let's go get lunch.
Yeah.
Um, and you talk about it. Hey, man, we'll keep in touch. We'll,
Yep.
we'll always talk. And I have been fortunate enough that some of my best friends have come back to Campbell, and it's like, hey, man, let's hang out now, and let's get together and do something. And but it truly is the hardest part is just being alone, because
Yeah.
you have had that support system, and you might not
Yeah.
have thought you had it, but you had a support system.
Like, just think for a minute, and this is just something that came to me. How many times were you alone while you were in the military? Like, just like in all honesty, like just thinking back to like when you're in boot camp, and then you go to your other trainings, your follow on training school, and then you go to your unit, and then you're living in the barracks, and like, how often are you alone?
Sometimes when you're in the shower, and sometimes not even
Yeah,
then.
right.
Like, but
Like,
like
yeah,
honestly, like
exactly.
you are
Like,
always,
yes,
you're always with somebody, or it's like, hey,
yes,
take take that guy, go do that. You like,
yeah,
and it could be a solo person thing, but it's always the army is take your battle buddy, go do that, go get that
yeah,
task done. And so you just, even if it's, hey, I'm gonna go to the PX. Hey, let's go to the PX. Okay,
yeah,
and
yep,
that's, I mean, and then you get out and you're like, where is everybody?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
Like, I'm gonna go to the store, and you walk in, and you're like, no one here. Like, and it sounds like it almost sounds like I'm like complaining or sad or being a victim of, and just like, oh, pity poor me, but I'm not. It's like you just go to Walmart, and you're like, no one here is connected in any way.
right,
But
yeah,
when you're in the military, like, everyone there is connected in some way.
yeah,
And it's so weird. It's just such a weird feeling when you get out. Even if it was 4 years or 20 years. I think it's probably worse for guys that have done 20 plus, because I mean that's all they've known for
yeah.
20
Oh,
years. Like, the lifetime of, like 20 years is a really long time. When,
yeah,
it doesn't seem it may not seem like it, but that's a really long time to be institutionalized. Like,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
not incarcerated, but it's very similar,
yeah,
because
exactly,
everybody's connected in some way,
yeah,
and everybody has a similar mission. Maybe not exactly the same, but the overall mission is still the same.
yeah.
And when you
And
leave that,
there is a level there, even minimal, of respect for each other that
yes,
will transcend anything you've had in a civilian capacity.
yes,
Because you could have a cook and an infantry guy, and you're like, hey man, that was a good meal. Like, I appreciate you. Like, and
yeah,
at the end of the day, that's that guy's job, and he's gonna try and do it in the best of his ability,
yep,
because that's what he was trained to do, and hopefully that's what he wants to do.
yeah,
And in the
yep.
civilian world,
Nobody cares.
it is, how do I do the least amount of work,
Yep.
get paid the most, and not work? Like,
And how can I not be here at work?
and how can I not be here? And
Yeah,
I struggled with that a lot, because I want purpose, and that's what you
yeah,
learn in the military is you have purpose. You are a part of the dagger going in. Like, you are the front line. Okay, that is
yeah,
my purpose right now. And I got into a job in agriculture, and I was talking to older guys that have been in the job, and I was like, man, like that, like, is your purpose, like, you feel good giving these guys the best product on the market, so you're doing a good job? And he's like, oh, like, I want
yeah,
the most money I can get for the least
yeah,
amount of work. And I
yeah,
was like, all right, like, I guess I can hang with that. Like, I just need to get used to that. And
yeah.
it did not get easier. Like,
No. Well,
it,
that's similarly. I got into and I've told this. I got into selling insurance,
yeah,
and they they're talking about how this is such a fulfilling job. You get to help people, you get to file claims, it's all customer service, it, and I saw through it. It was just all they were doing was trying to make as much money as they possibly could.
Sure.
And even when they're talking about, oh, we get to help people, it was always the more people we help, the more money we make.
Right.
And it's like you're not really helping anyone. You're filing paperwork for them. And yes, you can have customer service and you can develop relationships with people, but it's at a completely different level. I mean, the military's way up here, and this was like
Yeah.
way down.
Right. And there
And
and there are some
yeah,
people that do a good job in it.
yeah,
That do
yep,
care. Like I have a buddy
yes,
that I'll shout out, Chris Lennington in St. Louis, Missouri. Awesome insurance guy. He really cares about
yeah,
you. But there's everybody else that's like, if I hit 100 people and I
hmm,
do these three things that they probably don't need, but I'll convince them that they do, I'll hit my
yeah,
bonus, or I'll get an extra, or I'll get another bonus. And that's the same thing.
yeah,
It's like, hey guys, push this product for me. Push this
yep,
product. Margins are 40%. You're gonna make 20 instead of 5.
yep.
And it's like,
Hmm.
but what's the
Like
purpose?
cool.
Like,
Exactly.
what do I
What's the
like?
point?
I'm
Who
just
am I
making
helping? And
that guy spend more money. And
yeah,
does that make me feel better? Not really.
yeah,
Um, and so that's kind of the I the I'll carry you home thing has been
yeah,
so fulfilling because I am providing a service to this person, saying I will help carry your fallen, and I'm going to do the best job I can do, and I'm going to send it to you, and if it's not good enough, I will redo it. I'm
yeah.
not going to put out a bad product because this is something you're going to have forever. And
So elaborate on that a little bit more, like what you do and how it,
yeah,
kind of walk through from the beginning to the delivery of the final product and how that
sure.
works.
So I can start with like how it started. I It was Memorial Day and was having a tough time because I couldn't remember a guy's name that had got killed in a bike accident. I could see his face. I could see the conversation I had with him. Could not
Yeah,
remember his name. It's Jeff Undead. And I was like, because we have a post that we share in our brotherhood of the unit we were in, and there's 9 guys on it. Well, my buddy Dylan made it. It's got like 5,000 shares or something crazy because we all share it every year, and but it has grown to like 15 or 20 people, and which is not a great, which it, it's a very hard thing to swallow that more guys have passed away that way or got killed. And so I was making a post of all the ones that I knew that had passed away since then from that unit. And I could not find this guy's picture because I could not remember his name. I was just, I was just, I was like, it was like, how do I not have the respect enough to remember this guy's name that did the job and got killed by a tire that came off a car, you know, and I can't remember that guy's name. And I was like, so I wrote everybody's name out. I put it on a sheet. I was like, I will never forget this ever again. And then I started to think about it, and I was like, if I am that way, how many other people are like that?
yeah,
And how many people and how many families are struggling because they're the only ones that remember that name anymore or that
yeah.
date, except for on Memorial Day or that date. And so it kind of started from there, and I kind of started making like some shirts online, like on designs. And I was like, hey, this would look cool. And I'm sending this to my buddies, like, hey, we should memorialize this person or the kid that accidentally shot himself, or Bays or Page, or my buddy Smith that passed away. And so it kind of turned into, okay, how are they memorialized after everything? Because when it happens, articles everywhere, they get a flag, they get all that. but then what?
Yeah.
What's the next step? What's the next
Right.
thing they get? And it's not really anything. There's nothing. And again, I am not a part of that, so I don't know exactly what everybody gets, but it's not a lot. And
Yeah.
especially if they're so there's the movement's called Green Star now that have killed themselves or whatever. So um and so I was like, okay, let me try. So I was posting content on Facebook, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like, I just don't know if I can handle this because I just don't know if I'm that. I don't know if I'm that guy to do this. And that day was the 8-year anniversary of the 3 guys that passed on our deployment, and um, Jasmine Bays, which was Sergeant Bays' wife, messaged me on my page and said, "I would love if you would honor my late husband." And she didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I would love to do that." And I just talking to her, I was like, "This is what I'm thinking of doing. What do you think?" Because that was the first one. I had not done one yet. I had not. The only thing I had posted was a Tory and a which is our emblem for the rock stars, and the picture of the 3 um, that passed away, and that had like I think like 100 shares or something on it. I mean, a lot of guys were sharing that around, and that's probably how she saw it. And I put on there like, we will never forget. We will carry you home. Thank you, gentlemen, for your service. And she had said, "Please carry my husband home too." I was like, yeah, like
Yeah.
this means something to somebody now. Like, and I was like, okay, like and so super honored to do it. And so what I do is I ask them for pictures, and because I don't want it to be just military, I want people that see it to see them as a person, as a human. That
Yeah.
it's so that it's not just um, only military affiliated. Like so people remember that he was a husband, he was a son, he was a friend.
Yeah.
Um, and then I asked them to say something about them that they loved. I think going forward, I'm gonna come up with questions that help kind of flow the video, and have a story and their favorite memory or something like that. I'm not totally there yet, but and then I post a part one and I say, hey, I have been honored with the task of carrying Sergeant so and so forward. Um, and this is when he passed. He's somebody we'll carry with honor and reverence. And if you knew him, please send me a message, a story, a voice memo, something. And I've had a lot of people reach out that way and keep it private. And I don't ever say this person said something. It's always just part of the video. And I just did one for Sergeant Dylan Baldridge. I just finished that one, and it was really nice. Some people said some really nice things about him, and had some quotes from that was one of his favorite quotes and a Bible verse, and that was a really emotional one to make because just how young he was when he passed, how many people wanted to put stuff into this video, and
Yeah.
uh, it has been such an honor to make them, and they're just getting better with time, just learning how to do it. And, so then at some point I'll probably go back and redo the first ones because I want them all to be at a top level. And that's kind of all we're doing right now. We're getting the name out. We're building these videos to show, hey, we want to support you. We want to build something for you. And it's that's it. I mean, it isn't anything crazy, but I think it's very personalized, and it's
Yeah.
no one's really doing that. I don't think. I mean, and I think maybe we'll start doing sponsors or something. Because what I would really love to do a future down the road is like go see the families and have an interview like this or
Yeah.
talk and just in people love to show pictures of them in person, and so you could
Yeah.
see that childhood photo, or you can see, you know, his bedroom where he lived, because that makes it so much more personal. And what we're doing is personal. It's not like thank you for your service, sir. Like that's it. Like
Right.
is the most personal we can get with these families. And then also doing the Green Star families, because they are just as much heroes as everybody else. They
Yeah.
they they put the uniform on and they took it off and they were still fighting. So and we've talked about that a lot on this episode, and they're still fighting. And if they lost that fight, they're still a hero. And
Yeah.
their family deserves to have the same honor for their fallen as anybody else. And that's been a challenge that I've seen with the stigma, is that they are treated less than, which is not okay. And it could be anyone. It could be anyone
Yeah.
that this happens to, and they still deserve to be honored. And that's kind of my new mission, is to keep it the gold stars, of course, and the paramedics, firefighters, LEOs, but also the people that lost the fight inside,
Yeah.
because they deserve to be carried home. They deserve to have their story told. And if we can do the stuff that you're doing with your platform, I'm trying to start doing and helping these people, there'll be less of those, which is a
Yeah.
good thing. Like,
Yeah.
um, obviously, I mean, and that's, but until we fix that stigma, we will keep continuing to honor them the right way.
Yeah.
So,
I love what you're doing, and I think it's really important. And it is something that it's like people will be there for the funeral, people will be there to pay their respects, but then it just kind of fades away, and it just kind
yeah,
of they get forgotten by everybody except the family.
yeah,
And it's I would love to see some kind of memorial for veteran suicides, like a national memorial or something along those lines that
yeah,
is the guys came home and they were continuing to fight the battle in their mind and they lost it.
yeah.
And
And that is what I'm trying
it's
to do. That like that's my
yeah,
goal game, like way big board, is
yeah,
that I want the stigma gone, and that is not an easy task, obviously, because we're all trying to
yeah,
talk about it. But I think there are ways we can do better, and you and I
yeah,
talked about that already. And
yeah,
I mean, it is a task that has to be done, and I think we can get the right people in place to do that, because it is they deserve to be memorialized as everybody else.
yeah,
So
absolutely. So why don't you tell? I know you've got an Instagram page, and I don't know what other platforms are you on? Where can people find your stuff, and how can
yeah,
they support you?
yeah. So I'm on YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and don't go on my Twitter. There's nothing on there. that one that
Right?
one's just too hard to do.
Yeah.
And I'm on the handle. I'll carry you home on every platform.
Okay.
It's ILLCARRY. There's only one Y, because when you spell it out with two Y's, it looks weird,
Oh yeah.
and it just kind of looks and
Yeah.
just supporting the mission is just sharing it to people and saying, "Hey, this is what this guy's doing. Maybe this this family member would like that for their fallen."
Yeah.
Um, and it could be it could be somebody that was from the Vietnam era. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a current person, and it could be anybody. And I think supporting also means building a building a group of people that are on the same wavelength. We're wanting people to help with mental health. We're wanting to have those organizations that are talking about it linked together. Like we want to be able to help be a platform for people to reach out and say, "Hey, I have a person you can go talk to," or
Yeah.
say, "Hey, I don't have that person, but I know this guy that knows that guy." Like, and
Right.
that's the biggest thing we deal with as veterans is there is so much out there,
Yeah.
but we don't know where to look because
Right.
it is overwhelming. And
Yeah. It is.
the VA.gov is getting better. It used to be terrible. Didn't know how to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And but there is so much out there that people can benefit from. And down the road, I think we'll start doing shirts or doing sponsorships to help keep the mission going. But right now, we're just doing the videos. We're doing the collaborations with guys on mental health and how to talk to a vet. Like I've been doing this for a month and a half. Like, I'm not doing this very long, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty new at this.
Yeah. Well, you got to start somewhere. And that's, the hardest part I think is starting and staying consistent,
Yeah,
and just sticking with it. So,
yeah,
but it seems like you got you definitely have a mission and a purpose. And I think that's the most important part is not just doing it because you want to get famous or make money. It's you have a reason for doing it. And I
yeah,
think if you can really lock into that and really grab hold of it and own it, you won't have any problems growing and you know, getting where you want to go. So,
yeah,
but I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, we're going on a little over 2 hours now. I mean, but
yeah.
we've had
Sorry.
such a great conversation. I didn't want to shut it down. So, no,
Yeah,
don't apologize at all. Again, like I said before we started recording, if it's flowing and we're going well, and if anything, I can make it into 2 episodes and, they can listen. We'll have a part one and a part two, maybe. I don't know yet. We'll see.
yeah,
But I'm really, really glad you came on. I appreciate your time. And again,
yeah,
I really look forward to seeing your platform grow and just watching how you're able to help everybody.
yeah. Hey man, you were a big inspiration in me starting it. So thank you for letting me on your podcast, and
Absolutely,
I'll definitely keep in touch.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope you have a good weekend. I know it's getting late into Friday, so the weekend's kind of already started. But I hope you have
Yeah,
a good rest of your weekend. And if you need
you as
anything, don't
well.
hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, sure, man. We'll do.
So, thanks, guys. This has been the Veritable Veteran podcast. Again, Andrew Becker, his I'll Carry You Home platform. If you guys want to check him out, he's on all the different social media platforms. So, go look him up and shoot him some love and see if we can help him grow a little bit. So, all right, I'll see you guys next time. Love you guys. Hey guys, quick reminder if you enjoyed the episode today, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, go to whatever platform you listen to these podcasts on and leave a review. That's the best way to help us out. It gets a lot more traffic to us. So, again, if you liked it, like, subscribe, and leave a review. All right. Love you guys.